Good afternoon. I'm Diane Sayre, and you can see we're already joined here by Helga Zepp-LaRouche. I am a representative of the LaRouche PAC Policy Committee, and I am very honored to be joined by Mrs. LaRouche this morning and by this panel of experts on the topic which we are about to take up, which is the question of the implementation of LaRouche's 4 laws, emphatically dealing with the infrastructure and transportation crisis, but absolutely not limited to that. Mrs. LaRouche said a few months ago, and people may remember, that if President Donald Trump were to attend the Beijing Belt and Road Summit back in May and to bring the United States into the Belt and Road, that he would go down in history as one of the great leaders of all time. Since then, while he did not attend personally, he did send a delegation to that summit. He has had successful meetings both with President Xi Jinping and with President Putin. The result so far of these meetings is that we do have a very important and positive process in Syria with a ceasefire which is holding and a great progress in the war against ISIS. However, since these meetings and during these meetings, President Trump has come under the most vicious attack of any elected president in recent history. And I just wanted to bring up one thing which Mrs. LaRouche may have more to say about, because the attack is not only external, the design of the British Empire to destroy the United States, and they have been very unhappy with us ever since the American Revolution, is to sabotage in every way possible. And just this morning, I saw an interview done by Steve Bannon with the London Economist, where he vowed to screw up the Belt and Road. So here he was on the inside of the Trump administration, now supposedly on the outside, claiming that he wants to defend this president, but if his mission is to sabotage the crucial policy that will allow the United States to get out of this crisis, then this is an extremely destructive role both for the Trump presidency, and it is very disorienting to the people who want to support President Trump but who will be misled by this kind of nonsense. So that being said, I would just say that all of us here, I think, have a lot to learn. I think Mrs. LaRouche, who is about to address us, you should know, is the founder and chairwoman of the International Schiller Institute. She is famous in China, as was recently seen in a recent article in the China Daily News, for her role in promoting this policy, really for decades, but at least since 1996 when she was in Beijing and spoke about this question. She is also the head of the Bürgerrechtsbewegung Solidarität Party in Germany, and as such is currently a candidate for chancellor. So I wanted to allow her to address us very quickly, and because she has an enormous amount on her plate, and she will stay on to take some questions immediately following her presentation, and then we'll proceed. So welcome, Mrs. LaRouche.
Ladies and gentlemen in New York, I'm very happy to be able to address you, because this gives me the opportunity to emphasize from my own perspective why I think that this is the most traumatic moment in history in our lifetimes. If this goes in the right direction, then we could be in a completely new paradigm, in a new set of relations among nations in a very short period of time. And if it goes in the wrong way, well, we would be quickly back on the course of the confrontation with Russia and China, which we had with the previous administration. And given all the many crisis spots and drama of the situation, it could lead to World War III and the extinction of civilization. So I think between these two possibilities, the tension could not be bigger. And obviously, the place where this is fought out is the United States. Now, there is a coup in process. Diane already mentioned it. And I think we better go back to the article which appeared in the British paper, The Spectator, on the 21st of January, where they, under the headline, Assassination, Coup or Impeachment, discussed the need to get rid of President Trump long before the first office, or the first time in his office. And it was quite amazing that from minute one, the transatlantic establishment reacted to the election of president with shock, with unacceptance, with a complete demonstration of disrespect, which I have never seen portrayed against an American president. Now remember that the people who put themselves in the moral high seat, so to speak, these are the same elites who had no problem with the wars declared by Bush and Obama, wars which were based on lies, which had cost literally millions of lives in the Middle East and elsewhere. They had no problem with the drone killing. They had no problem with the civilian casualties of these drones, calling them casualties, collateral damage. They put their blind eye on the suffering of the people in the United States, whom Hillary Clinton later called so despicable, the deplorables. They had no sympathy for the lack of development in the Middle East or in Africa, which is the result, which has been the result for millions of people to flee from these areas, based and caused by the policies of Wall Street and the City of London. Now these liberals who are now attacking Trump in such an arrogant way, they are the defenders of human rights, of democracy, of Western values, and they have declared war on the presidency of President Trump. Now, what is the crime of President Trump in their eyes? Well, he promised to improve the relationship with Russia. He subsequently, after being in office, established a very good relationship with President Xi Jinping of China. He pledged and is, in part, implementing it to end the interventionist wars. He promised to return to the American system of economy, of Alexander Hamilton, Henry C. Carey, and Lincoln, and to create jobs in that tradition. And he promised to fight the horrible drug epidemic going on in the United States right now. Now, all of these policies, however, were a threat and are a threat to the idea of an unipolar world which the neocons had tried to establish in collusion with the British after the collapse of the Soviet Union. And it was these policies which promoted color revolution, regime change, interventionist wars, and, you know, this is all on the record. Victoria Nuland, obviously in cohesion with her boss Hillary Clinton, admitted that the State Department of the Obama administration spent $5 billion in Ukraine alone to cause regime change. And remember that it was the narrative about Ukraine, namely that Putin would have changed the borders by force, which is a complete lie, because it was the regime change policy to which Russia reacted, that it was that narrative which has been one of the key reasons for the demonization of President Putin in Russia. Now that Russiagate, due to the heroic forensic investigation of the VIPs, the Veterans of Intelligence Facility, which proved the fact that there was no Russian hacking, but there was leaking from the inside. So Russiagate is sort of on the back burner right now, and it may go nowhere. But in large part because the Schiller Institute distributed the findings of the VIPs internationally. So now you are looking at the next phase of the coup, which started or escalated in Charlottesville, which was called the Center of Resistance Against Trump by its mayor, Siegler, from day one. So what happened was you had a violent demonstration, the KKK on the one side and the white supremacists and the Antifa on the other side. And in a typical gang counter-gang fashion, which was obviously allowed by the mayor and allowed by the police, which did not keep these two groupings apart, it clashed. And for everybody who remembers the role of the FBI in the civil rights movement, it was clearly a moment of déjà vu, of remembering of how these gang counter-gang violent escalations are controlled. Now, obviously, it is not Charlottesville, it's not the gangs and counter-gangs on the ground, but behind that is the Wall Street, the neocon operators, which are orchestrating what has been called correctly a Maidan coup in reference to the coup against the elected government of Kiev. Now, obviously, a third force is moving there, controlling both sides. Now, this situation has created such a chaos that, for example, the official paper of the Chinese government, or the Global Times, compared to what is going on in the United States right now to the Cultural Revolution of China, which lasted from 1966 to 74, which was the decades wars and disturbances. For example, one very good example where this method is working is Syria, where because of President Trump's collaboration with Putin, there is a ceasefire in almost all of Syria right now. And you have right now, and you had in the last couple of days, a very large industrial fair in Damascus with a high-level delegation from China, from India, from Japan, and the reconstruction of Syria is now on the table. 600,000 Syrian refugees have moved already back, and there is hope that many more can return to their home. Afghanistan, despite the very unfortunate announcement of President Trump that he will send more troops to Afghanistan, unfortunately because there can be no military solution in Afghanistan, and people should have recognized that now after 10 years of Soviet war, of 40 years of NATO war, or maybe even 16 years. But there are already other initiatives. For example, the Afghan government has just invited India, Pakistan, Iran, Russia, the United States, and China to participate in the reconstruction of Afghanistan, and that must be the solution. Also, the Korea crisis, the South Korean President Moon has reconstituted the Northern Economic Commission, and in that way signaled that he is intending to go back to the sunshine policy of President Kim Dae-jung, which is the idea of collaboration between South Korea and North Korea, together with Russia and China, in the development of North Korea. Now, the same approach must be taken from the United States. Just a few days ago, the civil rights leader, Andrew Yang, responded to the events in Charlottesville by making exactly that point. He said the reason is not race for these clashes, the reason is poverty, and therefore the way to solve this crisis is to create jobs. Now, that is the American system of economy. This is what Henry C. Carey was talking about when he talked about a harmony of interest. Now, this is very urgent because of the danger of the financial collapse, because of the danger of social explosion in the United States. What must be put on the table urgently is the Glass-Steagall law of Franklin D. Roosevelt in combination to the other laws proposed by my husband, Helga Zepp-LaRouche, which is Glass-Steagall, a national bank, a credit system, and then the crash program for the development of fusion power and international cooperation in space technology, because we need very urgently a huge jump in the productivity of the economy. Now, the renewal of the New York infrastructure can be the key trigger to put such a change on the agenda. But I think the only way how it will function is you have to think about it as part of this global change of all of these development approaches to Syria, Afghanistan, and North Korea, and many other parts of the world. If this would happen, then the United States could participate in the AIIB, the Asian Infrastructure Development. US corporations could invest in many of the projects of the Belt and Road Initiative. Chinese firms and engineers could invest in the United States, and you would have a completely new world in a very short period of time. Now, global peace and social peace in the United States are part of the same new paradigm. And in both cases, the new name for peace is development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So what we will do right now is to open the floor for questions from the audience here, and also if the panel has anything that you would like to ask Mrs. LaRouche, and I think we can do that for about 30 minutes or so, if that's all right with you.
I'm Elliot Greenspan. Helga.
You can't be heard.
I can't be heard. This work, Bob? Yeah.
Don't tap it. Good.
Diane referenced in her introduction the comments to The Economist of Steve Bannon. In looking at those comments, Bannon says, "We are going to screw the One Belt, One Road." And he counterposes Judeo-Christianity to what he calls the mercantilist Confucian order. And he calls for the triumph over the next generations of Judeo-Christianity as against the mercantilist Confucian order. You had addressed some of this at 2 prior conferences this year. And I think it would be invaluable for you to set the record straight. What is it that China is actually proposing? What is the Confucian order? And so on. And how do we have a potential for a coincidence of opposites, so to speak, here?
Well, I don't know what is going on in the head of Mr. Bannon, but I can assure you that most of the people who oppose the Belt and Road Initiative in Chinese policy are doing that for quite different reasons than they say. They claim that it's democracy and Western values and all of these things, but in reality it is really the geopolitical control of the world. And therefore, I think it is very important that people study what China is actually doing. Read the speeches of President Xi Jinping, and you will find that he expresses a completely different philosophy, namely a harmony of world development, based on a Confucian tradition, which after all was the tradition of 2,500 years in Chinese history, only shortly interrupted by the Cultural Revolution, which deliberately turned against it. Now, the Confucian idea of harmony is based on the maximum development of the individual, the self-perfection, lifelong learning, improving of the character, and based on that idea of everybody is challenged to become a wise person, a noble person. And I made a comparison to the aesthetical education of Friedrich Schiller, where also the idea is that each individual must become a beautiful soul, must become a beautiful character, have lifelong self-perfection of your mind and your character. That this is the model then for a harmonious development of a family. That all the members of the family should strive towards the maximum development of all the other family members. And you all know that in a good family, this is how the parents care about their children, or how, the children care about their grandparents. And, a harmonious family, even if it becomes a rarity in these modern times, has been the foundation of a functioning society, not only in China, but actually everywhere. Now that idea is then, for Confucius, the model of a harmonious development of the whole country, and by extension, the harmonious development of all nations on this planet. Now, Samuel Huntington, the evil author of The Soldier and the State and the Clash of Civilization, he claimed in this ridiculous book, which only proved that he knows nothing about Christianity or Confucius or Islam or Hinduism, claims that Asian philosophy is incapable of universal conceptions. But that's not true. I mean, there is only one leader right now who, in this clear form, speaks about the one humanity, the community of a shared future, a community of common principles, and that is Xi Jinping. Now, if you look at the reason why the Chinese model is so attractive, it is not because it is offering military alliances, but it is offering economic benefits for all countries which participate. China made an unbelievable economic miracle in 30 years, lifting 800 million people out of poverty and creating a very sizable middle-level income bracket. And they have now the plan to eliminate the remaining 4% of poverty until the year 2020. Now, China has, without any question, contributed more to eliminate poverty, not only in China, but in many other countries, by offering the Chinese model to participating countries who are part of the Belt and Road Initiative. And the facts simply speak for itself. For example, countries in Africa, for the first time, are optimistic that they can overcome poverty and underdevelopment because of China, not because of the European Union, not because of the United States, but because of Chinese investments in infrastructure. So there is, in a certain sense, facts to prove that China is indeed doing what they are claiming to do, and that is the fact that the Chinese model has developed a tremendous attractiveness around the world. So I would suggest that people who have doubts in what I say, don't just believe me, but start with reading the speeches of Xi Jinping. Look at the tremendous success story. If you have some vacation, travel to China, go to the places, talk to the people, and you will see that there is a completely different, people are optimistic. 87% of all Chinese people agree with what the government is doing, as compared to 42% in the United States, or even less in Europe. And, I just wrote an article a little while ago about good government and bad government, which has been an issue since the Renaissance. And I think government is not a self-purpose. Government is there, as the American Constitution says, for the happiness of the people. So I think that all of these factors should help to overcome the prejudice which are spread by all the American think tanks, most German think tanks, and unfortunately Mr. Bannon seems to be very much uninformed about what is really going on, and maybe it's a good thing